We're up to 30b. We just finished 30b3. We made a distinction between when a fool says something to you, where the Shlomo HaMelech says one place you answer the fool, one place Shlomo HaMelech says you don't answer the fool, and we said it depends what he's talking about. If you're talking about mundane matters, things that have nothing to do with Torah matters, don't respond to him. Because if you give him response, you give him credibility, people start saying, who's correct, you or him? So then you leave it up for the judges, and you create doubt. But if, and that's why the Gemara gave an illustration. The guy came over to Rebbe. He said, "Your wife is my wife. Your children are my children." He said that he had an affair with Rebbe's wife and had the children, and Rebbe did not respond. The only thing Rebbe did was he gave him a cup of wine, and God punished the guy. The guy died on the spot, similar to like we spoke about the Sotah story. The unfaithful wife, if she was unfaithful, she would die on the spot. And we said that because he claimed that Rebbe's wife was unfaithful, so Hashem did to him what he claimed was deserved of Rebbe's wife. So, and he died. And we had two stories about that. The Gemara said that was true by Rebbe, and the similar story happened by Reb Chia. Now, and then the Gemara also said that Rebbe's prayer that he prayed every day, which we have part of our prayers, helped him that no rumors about his children that they're illegitimate were became popular. So therefore, we even need prayer to even protect us from negative public relations, negative rumors. People start talking about people, they can ruin people's lives. They can ruin the people. No one would marry Rebbe's children. If Rebbe's children, if the rumor, good morning, Mari, if the rumor would be taken seriously, then people would not be able to marry because the children are illegitimate children. So now, with the Gemara in contrast, that's where it's not Torah. He wasn't poking fun on Torah. The fool wasn't talking about Torah. He was talking about something not Torah, just making up stories, making foolish statements regarding non-Torah matters. However, even though there is ramifications, halachic ramifications, but it's not that he's poking fun at the Torah. He's just making up stories. But the Divrei Torah, the Gemara says you have to respond to when he talks about Torah, because if he pokes fun at the Torah and you don't respond to, he thinks I know better than the Torah, and then he would walk around life thinking that his mindset is correct, and then he will not be keeping the Torah, and he's gonna think he's the smarter one. So let's see with Divrei Torah. So that's what we're up to now on 30b4. 30b4, B'divrei Torah Mahi, on the bottom, B'divrei Torah Mahi. What is the matter when it relates to Torah? They have to respond to the fool. Kiha liyotev Rabbi Gamliel v'kadorish. Rabbi Gamliel was sitting and he was expounding about the future. He said that Tida Isha Sheteled. We know about a little bit about the future. We know the Rambam talks about the days of Mashiach, that based on the verses, that there'll be peace in the world. It'll be a very peaceful time. They'll put down the swords, so to speak, and there'll be very great financial boom in the world. That money will not be difficult to have in that time period. It's not like today. That's a big stress and very difficult. And it's like, imagine the stock market just going up and going up and going up and no going down. But obviously it's talking whatever it won't be there won't be a big focus on that, and therefore, because there won't be so people won't be so preoccupied earning a living, they'll be preoccupied doing spiritual pursuits and studying and learning and practicing doing mitzvot. Tanya, the other Rabbi Gamliel. So Rabbi Gamliel Kadorish, he says, "Atida isha shetelit b'chol yom." How do you like that? A lady is going to give birth every day. So what does he mean? Whether he means exactly every day? I mean, the way Rashi explains, it seems that a lady in the days of Mashiach is capable of becoming pregnant, even if she's carrying already another child. Usually, in today's world, a lady once she's pregnant, she can't become pregnant again during pregnancy number one. As long as she's pregnant with the first fetus, she can't become pregnant again. But in the days of Mashiach, that will change. And I would just say it's a sign of that's a blessing. Having children is a blessing. And in a certain sense, maybe there's a concept. Days of Mashiach will go back maybe in certain ways to what things were before the sin of Adam. This week's parsha, we're going to be reading about Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge. And the world was a different world before that. Before they ate, because if they would not have, let's say, eaten from the tree of knowledge, the ground would have actually, the Maral says, would have given out its fruit without, you wouldn't have to go, it would come out of full fruit from the ground, just like, you get when you plant a apple tree and you get the apples. So there's nothing for you to do for the apple. When the apple comes out, you got a complete product, right? Today you got to go ahead and you got to go when wheat comes out. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So we're saying that last time, as you recall, Mark, we made the contrast between when do you have to respond to the foolish person. We said if the foolish person tells you something of nothing, not to do with Torah, makes up stories, says something foolish, you don't have to respond. Don't
Secular.
respond. But if he says something regarding Torah, meaning if he pokes fun at Torah, so then you respond. So he shouldn't think that he knows better when it comes to Torah. And the Gemara illustrates this with the following story. Rabbi Gamliel spoke about, the time of Mashiach, things are going to be the world is going to be a different world. And he said that there's going to be an amazing blessing. What's going to be the amazing blessing? Now, if you recall, Chava, in this week's parsha, Chava becomes pregnant and gives birth all on the same day, right? In the sixth day of creation, right? Chava became pregnant, right? Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava were created on the sixth day of creation. And she became pregnant that day. She gave birth to Cain and Hevel. And she gave birth to them, and they were, they were complete already. The day that they were born, they weren't like little babies. You know what I mean? It was a different type of world back then, a little bit. And
Is that it? Is there knowledge of if they had an Olah or not?
Morning, Nathan.
Morning,
Good to see you. Mark Nathan says hello to you, Mark.
I'll tell him I'll see him in just a minute.
Okay, very
And good morning.
Okay. Yes, what were you saying, Mark? Mark, what were you saying?
Were they born fully? They were born fully adult, right, or no?
Correct.
So
correct.
With the Olah or no Olah?
What do you? Oh, with the Arlo or no Arlo? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, you say with a foreskin on it. Okay, that's. Oh, maybe Adam might have had none, but I'm not sure about their kids. Again, there was no mitzvah of Brit, there was no mitzvah of circumcision then. I mean, only from Abraham came the mitzvah of circumcision. So, but that's a good question. But the Gemara of Gamliel says, "Atida isha teled b'chol yom." Woman,
I only asked because you said they were born perfect, like they were born
As an adult,
No.
right. I meant as an adult, as a full, complete person, but whether
Right.
they had the foreskin or not, that's,
Right.
if
Okay.
it's
Okay.
brought down
Sorry.
that Adam had a circumcision, would seem to be, he was born without the foreskin, would seem to indicate that they had a foreskin. But because then it would have said they also were born without, then I don't think I don't know that they made that list, that old time list. Like Moshe Rabbeinu, it's brought down, was born without a. Okay.
Did, does it say they were born perfect, the children?
I mean, I think what I recall, it says someone they were born as complete as a person. You know, I mean, not. There wasn't that baby process that had, like takes a couple of years until a baby becomes, years becomes an adult. So the Gemara says that a woman in the days of Mashiach could give birth um, on a regular, very often. The language of the Gemara is b'chol yom. The language of the Gemara, the literal language of the Gemara is every day. And the way Rashi explains, what does that mean? Or the way some of the commentaries explain, it means to say that means she could go ahead and be pregnant with one baby, and she could become pregnant twice at the same time. A woman generally, as we know, does not, once she's pregnant with one baby, she can't become pregnant with another baby, and that's going to be a new phenomenon. A lady could become pregnant even if she's already pregnant, and so too the time of the period of pregnancy is going to be shorter. It's not going to be a 9 month, right? Gestation is going to be not. It's not going to be a 9 month period like we have today. Again, like what I would say is similar to the time of before Adam and Eve sinned, that it could be just the same day she became pregnant, she gave birth. So it doesn't say they'll be the same day, but it'll be a much shorter time. So the student laughed at it. And he brings a pasuk. The Shenema, the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, Hara violedet yachtav. The pasuk says she was pregnant and giving birth simultaneously. What do you mean you're pregnant and giving birth simultaneously? That means you could be pregnant with one child, you're giving birth to one child, and you could be pregnant already with another child while you're giving birth to child number one. You're already pregnant with child number two. That is the phenomenon that that's gonna happen in the time of Mashiach. Liglig alav ota Talmud. So that student, they had a student. This student seemed to be a tough cookie, because he was the same student that poked fun. Or 1 second. Okay, we're going to see about this student. So this student made fun, and he said, "Va'ama ein kol chodesh tachas hashemesh." It says that in this world, and Mashiach is also going to be, it's not a new world. Mashiach is going to be part of the world, like the Rambam says. It's going to be the world, the way the world is running today. People are eating, people drinking. During that time, Mashiach is going to be, the main difference is going to be, we're not going to be subjugated to other countries and other governments. We're going to have true independence in the time of Mashiach. But he wasn't that. But it's not going to be a different type of world. You're changing the physical world by saying that the gestation period of a woman, the length of her pregnancy, and how she could become pregnant, become pregnant while she's pregnant. That type of, it sounds like it's changing the world. Now, if you would have asked the question, you could ask the question. You have a verse and you have a question. But he wasn't using this verse as a question. He was just using this verse then to poke fun and saying it can't be, and he was poking fun at what the rabbi was saying.
Also have more than one litter in their belly at the same time.
Okay, we're going to see. We're going to see about the hen. The hen, we see, has that. So we're going to. So the Gemara is going to when Nathan is onto something, because we'll see what Nathan is saying, and the rabbi, and there's no problem. Your person has the right to ask a question on what the rabbi says. If Vadio says something, you can ask a question, but you can't poke fun at it. That's the issue here. And now, if you don't respond to his poking fun, right? He denied it. He said it can't be, but he poked fun at it. So if you're not going to respond to him, so that he's going to live life thinking he knows better, and he as if to say that Torah is not true. What the rabbi is saying is not true. So the rabbi responded, and he says, "Omalo bo varecha dugmatan b'olam hazeh." I'll show you that even in our time, before Mashiach comes, we have a similar thing, like Nathan says. Nofeg ve'ach v'le tanagolat. He showed him a tanagolat, a hen could lay eggs every day. There's no long period, and she carries. It's not exclusive. She carries many eggs. Uh, the fertilizer, right? And that could be also in the days of Mashiach. It's not considered a new phenomenon. Look how often there's no long period between one egg and another egg. She carries many eggs, that's what he showed her. It showed the student, and therefore it's not something that's not a phenomenon. Obviously, it's a great bracha. Obviously, it's a great blessing that the gestation period, the pregnancy will be shorter. She can become pregnant. A lady can become pregnant once she's already pregnant. That's a sign of great blessing. The same way the Rambam says there'll be great blessing financially, time when Mashiach, as we said beforehand, and money will be very easily found, so to speak. It won't be so difficult. So that's a great blessing. People won't get caught up with the financial pursuit. So too, there'll be a great blessing, children and family. That's a great blessing that people should be able to have more children. That's going to be we found in Mitzrayim, what was one of the ways that Hashem blessed the Jewish people, but they had 6 babies at one time, right? They had such a very 6 bekeres echad. So that's going to be the blessing. Further, Yoti Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel was again discussing what's going to be in the time of Mashiach. Atidini lonot, the trees, the same way we spoke about the people, a woman, a tree is going to motziim peirot b'chol yom. It's going to have new fruits are going to come out every day. There's going to be a new fruit today. We have a fruit.
The same tree ripens at different times, different fruits.
Right. That's very good. That's what the Gemara is going to. Nathan is on the station. Yes, the Gemara is going to use that. So that student is going to poke fun of that. He says, and what does the pasuk say about the time of Mashiach? It says, "Shenema v'nasa anaf asa peri." The tree will grow forth its anaf, its branches, and it's going to make fruit, produce fruit. And Rabbi Gamliel says, "Ma anaf b'chol yom," just like we see that a branch, the tree gives off a little bit of the branch gets bigger every day. Something comes forth from the tree, a little growth of the tree. We don't see fruit coming every day, but we see the branch could be coming out a little bit more on a regular basis. So too, af pri b'chol yom. So too, in the future there'll be new fruits coming. The same tree, new fruits coming. The fruits coming out today, tomorrow, or in a very short period of time, there'll be another new fruit coming. So the Talmud. So the student again said, he also poked fun at that. He says, the pasuk enkel chodesh tachas hashemesh. There's no new, there's the world. Hashem made a creation of world, and He's not going to change the way He created the world. Yes.
Why do you assume that this student is poking fun.
Morning,
Why
Mark.
are you assuming he's poking fun? Maybe he's saying there's nothing more than the sun, because I, as a botanist and I, as an agronomist and whatever, know that different animals have more than one litter at a time, and I know the trees can blossom at different times, different branches. So maybe he's not poking fun. Maybe he's saying it already exists.
No, but again, the fact that the Gemara says liglag. Liglag means it was clear, meaning the Gemara is reporting what happened. The rabbi goes up and he says, the Gemara's over there. Sorry, it's the Hebrew version. The rabbi gets up and he says his Rasha, says his exposition, and then the Gemara says there was this person there that poked fun.
Does it say poke fun?
Yes, liglag. It says right. That's the language of the Gemara, the Talmud.
What does that word mean?
Right, to make fun.
It's not like he's saying, Rabbi, it already exists.
Right. Then he wouldn't be poking fun.
Right.
He'd be supporting what the rabbi's saying. He's poking fun, and sometimes people could poke fun. They want to. We're on 30b4. Sometimes people poke fun by using a verse, right? Like the missionaries will go ahead and they'll use a verse to think that they want to say their point. So here he used a verse from Tanakh, from Kohelet, to like support his joke, his fun at his,
No question. What to respond to that joke all about? Secular? No. It's against Torah.
let him know that he's wrong, right? And he was poking fun at this thing using a verse, like he's going to use the material of the Torah. He's a student, meaning this is a student in the yeshiva. This is a student in the yeshiva. He was not such a good student, obviously, by the fact that he was poking fun. He should not be poking fun. He could ask, like I said before, you could ask questions, but you don't poke fun.
It seems as though by using the verse he's using, his intention may be to poke fun. But he's actually saying something that's true, but his motivation was.
Exactly right. 100%. And a lot of times in life, it's the same idea. The Jewish people we don't have water. We don't have to complain. We have a problem. Don't complain against God. Don't talk bad about God. Don't talk bad about Moshe. You have an issue, bring. You could say, we need water, but not to complain against God. Right? You have an issue. You could bring the pasuk, but you can't use it as part of your poking at fun. So the Gemara again, we are on 30b4 on the right side, the bottom of the right side, and he says to the student, and in the language of the rabbi is also very nice. The same language that he said before was, I'll show you the hen. He said, I'll show you the tzlaf tree, like what Nathan was referring to.
The same word is what the birds were that Hashem gave us in the desert.
That's what is sin. This is with the tzaddik. One different letters. One's it's slav, tzaddik, right?
So, Slav.
Right, slav. And the desert was a slav, the quail.
So what is it? Slav.
So right. It's a certain type of tree that has multiple fruits, things that come out. We're going to see right. We'll see right. They call it the caper bush.
Capers.
Is a low prickly shrub native to the Mediterranean regions.
Capers is what you have on your locks.
In the days of Mishnah Talmud, 3 products of the bush were commonly eaten: its fruits, palm-like shoots, and its flowers. And each of these 3 parts of the bush, they would come and blossom right, one right after the other. Right. So that's what he showed him. So he says, come and I'll show you. Meaning like very like the rabbi, like very gentle. Come and I'll show you. Look. It's already here in this world. And it could be, by the way, I like to suggest, maybe Hashem made that type of tree in this world, so you should be able to relate to it for next world. Why you have the hen give all these eggs every day? Maybe it's only that we should be able to realize and connect and realize we're going to have that blessing is going to be in the future. The women will be able to give on a regular very often. They're going to be able to give birth. And by the way, it's not going to be too taxing on the woman. Obviously, she can't handle it. She's going to be giving birth so often. She's pregnant. She has to now go pregnant again. Yeah.
So I've always felt that every month or so, they find an old coin from 2,500, 3,000 years ago.
In Israel or all over? Yeah.
Why did somebody use that coin? So that every time the UN and the Arabs, said that we were never there, suddenly the coin that somebody dropped out of his pocket is found. They always answer them. So Hashem caused people to lose their coins 3,000 years ago, so that when the deniers come, we have a coin today. Someone denies us tomorrow, 2 days from now, someone's going to find a coin. It's going to be in the newspaper. They'll still deny. But Hashem planted the seeds of the disproof.
And it says Judea on the coin, and that's a Jewish king, has a menorah on the coin, whatever it is. Right. Beautiful, beautiful. You know what? At least it's there for us, among our people, to be able to tell our people. We have too many people among our community that are not. They need the chizuk.
Not yet.
Right. So nafak, and then the Gemara says, and it's like he said that when we said the gentleness of the rabbi, he says nafak, he went out. But it's the same language of the Gemara before. He showed him a hen. Here he went out and he showed him the bush. He took the student out. Isn't that what a rabbi is supposed to show? Not just to tell the student, we have such a caper bush. There's a caper bush that exists. He took the student out. Now, I don't think caper bushes grow right outside the rabbi's, necessarily right outside the rabbi's yeshiva where the rabbi was speaking from. Wherever he had to take him to, wherever that bush was, he took him to show him, look at this. Look at this, look at this bush. It gives out this part of the tree, this fruit today, and next week will come another part of this tree, and then another part of, one after the other. But when you see something, also make a tremendous impression. I saw it with your own eyes. The rabbi is very interested in hopefully trying to get that student. Don't write off any student, even the one, how do you like that, Mark? Even the student that's poking fun at the rabbi. He doesn't believe it. But he's a student. He's still in the yeshiva. You got to get him. You got to get him on board. And the rabbis he poked fun last time. He took him out to the hen. He showed him the hen. Now he's taking him. He's telling him the slav bush. Right. It's the same student. That same.
That who's there to learn.
Right.
Not talking about someone who
Right.
like someone
Come on.
not learning. We're a learner. We're a learner.
Right. We're not talking about a heretic, a missionary.
Guy on the street that's not learning. His mind's not in a place where you could teach this kid, even though he's a skeptic, he's still in a space of learning.
No, but even if someone's not a student, but as long as he's willing, he's open. If someone's open to be an honest conversation, and I'm willing to hear what you have to say. So even if he's going to poke fun at what you're saying,
I'm saying by design.
Okay, that's true. You have to know who you're talking to. When people say things, that people question things, people are poking fun. You have to know you're wasting your time with the person, or is it a person that really has any interest in listening to what you have to say?
But take Mark's point one step further. He was gently corrected by the rabbi the first time. He came back to school, then to yeshiva the next day, and was still interested. He still had his old thoughts, but he was still willing to come back and learn again. And now he's been taught twice that he was incorrect. Is there a third example?
There's a third example. We're getting after the third example, and it could be after 3 strikes, you're out. So we're going to see after 3 times the rabbi. Now maybe after 3 times, now the kid he realized, okay, I have to take what the rabbi said. He showed me already 3 times. So what's the story? What's the next story? The 2 Yatei Rebbe Gamliel, we welcome you. Thank you for joining the class. 2 Yatei Rebbe Gamliel v'Kadaresh. Rebbe Gamliel was sitting and he was expounding, and he says, Atid Eretz Yisrael. He's talking about the times of Mashiach, what's going to happen, the great blessing that will be to the Jewish community at the times of Mashiach. So he says, Atida Eretz Yisrael shetotzi gluskot. Bread, that a bread is going to come out from the ground. Meaning to say, today you get the wheat and you got to go ahead and grind it and bake it. You take a look at an apple today. When an apple comes out of the ground, you don't have to, it's finished product. He says that, but that's what's going to happen by the bread that's going to come out. When you plant the wheat, instead of have to go make the whole process of making bread, you're going to go.
I hope it's salad.
Okay.
7th grade.
Okay. Eretz
Even more impressive that it has 7 grains in it from one plant.
Also, it's interesting to note that here he emphasized Eretz Yisrael. Right beforehand, it says the time of Mashiach, trees. Didn't say specifically Eretz Yisrael. We have to know is it only Eretz Yisrael. But here he's very clear. There'll be a great blessing in the Holy Land, the days of Mashiach. Shetotzi gluskot, breads that are ready to eat. How do you like that, Adam? It's ready to roll. Be a roll ready to roll. Kli milat, and also it will be already garments from very good wool. So what does that mean?
The garments are going to grow on trees.
All right. So what? Coming meaning it sounds like linen, right? Flax comes from the ground, right? Linen comes from the ground. Right. Wool doesn't come from right. So but here it says wool, right? The line here it says wool, right? So the way the commentary explains here on the In Yaakov explains that Rabbi Gamliel really he doesn't mean to say that actually bread is going to be. It doesn't mean literally what he said that bread is going to a roll is going to come out from a bagel is going to come out from the ground, or that a morning asaf, or that a garment is going to come off the sheep. A full garment is going to come off the wool of the sheep. Rather, in the days of Mashiach, there'll be tremendous hatzlacha, tremendous success, and abundance of blessing. And people will be able to get food and clothing without working so hard like we have to work today. But it's still, it's a big process. Right. But it's still, right, but it's still a process. It's true. But still, but he said,
Could it be slightly different? Not that it'll be easier to get cloth and easier to get fully made bread. If AI takes away 80% of our working hours and allows us to study more, and if we had to work 1 day a week instead of 5 days a week to get our bread and get our, does the language lend itself to more free time or greater salary per hour? Or is it talking about the actual bread and the actual textiles themselves that'll be themselves easier?
yes, so good, right? So the Gemara, yes, right. So the language of the Gemara. If you look at the language of the Gemara brings a pasuk. So what's the pasuk that brings down to address Nathan's point? Shenema pitat bar ba'aretz. So what is pitat bar? So the simple meaning of the pasuk will be an abundance. There will be an increase of grain. That means a larger amount of production, like we have today. You have so much more production of grain. But it's not clear, and you have to see more about the language of the pasuk. But it says so. There's going to be this abundance of grain that's going to be in the time of a Mashiach, and it's not going to, it's not going to.
An abundance of linen and flax just means that things will be cheaper.
Right, it's going to be cheaper.
We're going to have it showed him mushrooms and truffles.
Right. He said. Right. So he said.
Pointing to bread. That's
Right. See, because the student was questioning. We never saw such a, in this world. So again, the student is going to say ligleg also Talmud because now the Talmud. See, the student thought the rabbi meant literally. The student thought that that the rabbi meant literally that, because the mushrooms are looking, they look like they resemble like a bread of some sort.
That would mean the literal.
Right, but because the student thought the rabbi meant, the rabbi's even showing, even according to what you thought I meant, I didn't mean that actually it's going to be literally, it's going to be a garment coming from the ground, coming from the sheep. There's going to actually be a full roll. I didn't mean that, but even according to what you thought I meant, I'll show you that. And you're questioning me, you're poking fun at me because you said we don't have such a precedent in this world. So he said, I'll show you we even have something that's already similar to that. Nafak achvle k'meim pitriot. He showed him these type of foods that have some that look like they come from the ground, and they go very very fast, and and similarly he says he also showed him navra bakura. So let's see what these things are. So navra bakura is the bast of a young palm heart. It says, they say over here that when the palm heart grows, it's encased in a wool-like natural sheathing. Those are this sheathing could be used as material for clothes. So he showed him. It looks like material, right? So that's what he showed him. It's commonly used as raw material in the production of rope and. So therefore, he showed him such a phenomenon. But they bring from the Maharal a beautiful idea. The Maharal says, like I said earlier, I don't know if both of you were here when we said it earlier, when Anna was here, that without the sin of the eating from the Eitz Hadat, good morning, Solomon, eating from the tree of knowledge, the ground would have produced its fruit fully. Without, you wouldn't have to go ahead and the food, right? The food would come out of the ground. You wouldn't have to fix it. You wouldn't have to be busy. Right. You wouldn't have to be busy, working it so much. And what will happen at the time of Mashiach, it seems that will already be the sin of Adam, would have been corrected by then. And then the world will go back certain like it was before the sin. So there'll be a lot of great things which I would like to say that's similar to the same way that Chava became pregnant and gave birth in the same day. So we see that phenomenon that there wasn't that 9-month period before this.
He was also punished or women were
We're
punished.
about the 9 months period. Pregnancy because of.
If we violated with the Eitz Hadat, and the result was men have to work by the sweat of their brow, women have to endure for 9 months. If we correct the sin,
Right, that's right.
those two punishments can be reversed.
Exactly, and that's what will happen in time of Mashiach. Okay, we're looking forward that Mashiach should come, and our actions actually will bring Mashiach, our good deeds, our learning, our Torah mitzvot. Have a great day, everybody.
Good to be back.
Welcome back. Oh, here it is.